Welcome, global audience, to our first Pulse session in 2021. We welcome you all and wish you a wonderful, happy new year. We hope you're doing well. We have many countries joining us from around the world today for this live session, The Pulse. The Pulse is where we go a little bit deeper. We choose a topic and we have this global conversation, if you like, in real time, where it's not just a one-way discussion from the panelists and the presenters to you, but you get a chance to ask some questions and we can have this interactive feedback between us all in this time. And this month's topic is sowing the seeds of love, which couldn't be more important at this time, at this critical time on our planet. So welcome all, and I'd like to introduce our presenters for the day. Gilron Shama, coming live from Israel. Gilron is an amazing artist, what we call a heartist, someone who really brings forth his music with a connection to the heart. And Gilron has been spending many, many years and decades working with music as a bridge between cultures, especially working with the Arabs and Israelis and Christians in his country of Israel and how there's so much tension there, but the music brings people together. It's our common language. So welcome, Gilron. Thank you for joining us today. And next we have Bhavani Lev, dear friend, and she's the co-founder of UPLIFT. She's a true visionary, and Bhavani has dedicated her life to uplifting consciousness, especially in the business world. She is also the co-founder of Organic India. I'm sure many of you have tasted how delicious that tea is with the Organic India. So Bhavani, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure and honor to have you here.
Thank you, Chris. And namaste to everyone. Welcome to explore together how we can sow more seeds of love into our collective consciousness and our world.
Thank you, Bhavani. And next we have Scarlett Lewis. Welcome, Scarlett. Scarlett is another incredible visionary, truly inspiring woman, who is the founder of the Jessie Lewis Choose Love Foundation, which is a global movement that she was inspired to create after her son Jesse was massacred and shot and killed at the Sandy Hook school shooting that happened some years ago. And her work is just incredible. She uplifts communities and schools and people around the world with the path of choosing love. And you'll get to hear more of her story in this session. Scarlett, it's an honor and pleasure to have you here join us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So as I was expressing, this is an interactive discussion. So I want to invite the global audience. If you feel inspired, please send us a question on Facebook, and we will, do our best to field some of the questions, and I'll be asking them live. And for those of you who are joining us in the Zoom conference, we sometimes like to, if you feel inspired to join live, actually, we'll host you live, and you can join us and you can ask the question live with us. So please, don't feel embarrassed. Just don't hold back. Send us your questions and we'd love to hear from you. So we're going to start now with this session from a question from Marianne from Melbourne. So she says, for me, sowing seeds is the easy part, but taking care of the garden needs constant work and attention. Can you share some tips on how I can stay committed to the work so my garden can flourish after the seeds of love are sown? Bhavani, would you like to share?
Namaste. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Marianne. That's such a great question. Yeah, I mean that is the work, isn't it? Is the nurturing of those seeds of love that we plant. Yeah, I would say that, the seeds come from a tree. The tree gives birth to its own seeds from its own self. So as we continue to be a vehicle for love in action in our lives and plant seeds in every interaction that we have with each person and with nature and with ourselves, that being aware that we are the field of love itself is the way to continue nurturing the seeds as we just live each moment of our life.
Thank you, Bhavani. So just to share that question again, Bhavani, I'd like to hear from you, like, because really, it's when I looked at that question today and I thought about it, it's like, yeah, that's just the first step is the sowing, like, and then you tend the garden, you tend the soil, and then you sow. But what is it? What really, the work is when really tending that garden. So can you share, like, from your perspective, even those on those days when you don't feel like tending the garden, what's some of the things that you do and bring forward in yourself that you practice to help you stay in that space, and especially when you're getting confronted?
Yeah, okay. That's a good question. You know, being expressing love is a very individual thing that each one of us know how to do. We all know what that means within ourselves. So, I hesitate to give I don't know, any kind of advice or suggestions about what you would do when we all know what it feels like to be in a space where we're giving love. But as I understand the question that you're asking, Chris, is that, yeah, it's like that sometimes it doesn't feel like it's so easy to be in that space. You get triggered or angry or upset, or you just don't feel good. Yeah, well, for me, the things that I do is choose gratitude. I always look to see what is one thing that I feel grateful for right now, no matter how upset I am with anything. And I usually have an aim of looking for three things. So start with one, then another, and a third. And by the time I've found the third thing that I'm genuinely grateful for, it's like I feel an avalanche of gratitude, and it shifts my entire experience of being present. And it connects me to the world and to other people. And it gets me out of my feeling of being upset or hurt or lost or disconnected or dissociated. So I use being present in this moment. What is something I feel genuinely grateful for in this moment? And it could be something really small, like I'm in a warm house. I mean, we have so many things to be grateful for, or, from big to much bigger things. But gratitude is a way that, and being present in this moment, because the mind tends to be getting freaked out about things that it imagines are going to happen in the future. And it uses evidence from the past. And it just creates this very, very just sort of self-destructive cycle. But when we come back to the present moment, take a deep breath and ask, what am I grateful for right now? That's been my gateway for, let's say, 40 years. When I discovered that, I've never found anything that worked better than that. And it's so genuine. That's what I love about it. It's absolutely genuine. And to your own self, it's genuine. You're not trying to please somebody else. It's just, for me, what am I grateful for right now? And whatever your experience is going to take you back into your heart.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Gilron, would you like to share some words on that question from Marianne?
Yeah, first of all, I really love the metaphor of the garden, and I really use it in my life. And it's actually a very, very deep and primal surroundings, environment of human being, the garden. And the first part of garden is the seeds. So let's focus on the seeds for a moment. Those seeds, that they are the foundation of the garden, the foundation of all the trees and the vegetables and the fruits, all the green, everything come from those little brown seeds. And the seeds, actually, they're the DNA of the potential. So I just, as we start this meeting, this pulse, this amazing meeting, let's see it as a seed, so we can plant it and use it really in our life. So it won't be just a conversation or sharing knowledge. It can be actual part of our garden, this present moment, that I'm very, very excited to share with you guys, with everyone that is here now. And the seeds, they can be part of time, they can be part of consciousness, They can be physical or metaphysical, but they need love. That's the basic treatment. Beside of water and life and sun and light, the seeds need love. So that's the first need of a garden to flower and to achieve the goals of becoming a source of life. I love gardens, and you know, the garden is also a very deep metaphor in the Hebrew mystics, in every mystics. But in Hebrew, it's very interesting. We call in Hebrew garden, we say gan. It's the root also of the genes, the genome, the genes within inside our body, which is the memory. It's the library of our being. And it's also the root, the verbal root of mangina, which is melody. So actually, garden is the source of the memory of the human experience, and melody is connected to it. So in this moment, I want to use the knowledge as a musician, but not just as a musician, as someone who walks in the garden, that what I bless us for this year is to be conscious for the harmony that us as musicians, we use as a tool. Those very important daily tools of listening to each other, of tuning. And when you walk in a garden, you can really feel the magic of how all the herbs and the animals and the birds, they are all in harmony. Now, it doesn't have to be just in a physical garden. Actually, even this moment that we talk, and we are using the net to spread these poles, it's actually a garden. And we can use all those secrets that we learn and share from the real garden, those memories of the human experience of living together in harmony, sharing with respect, listening, having even a crowded space, but mingling and sharing the physical space with our dreams, with our thoughts, with our talking, with our sounds. And I think that the time that we are experiencing is a time of restart, a real chance to restart this game of living in the garden. I love gardens, and it's a beautiful, beautiful also metaphor. And instead of trees, we can see ourselves in the world as a garden. We have roots, and we have like the human society have also the vision, like the trees. We want to reach the light. And I want to give intention from this moment that we share the time in this garden, all human beings, with the animals and with the herbs and with Mother Earth. And we respect the basic laws of harmony. We respect each other, the different fragrances of each other. And may we have a beautiful year in this garden. I'm really happy to be in this garden with you guys now.
Thank you, Gilran. Thank you for your beautiful energy. Thank you. Scarlett, would you like to share some thoughts on that question from Marianne?
Yes, absolutely. So my 6-year-old son left a message on our kitchen chalkboard shortly before he was murdered in his first grade classroom. And he wrote 3 words. They're actually right around the corner from me right now: nurturing, healing, love. and they were phonetically spelled because he was in first grade and just learning to write. But I knew that even in that tremendous tragedy, that if the perpetrator had been able to give and receive nurturing, healing love, that the tragedy would never have happened. That nurturing, healing love is what connects us all as human beings, the want and need to have that. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that as human beings as well, we have a negative bias that is woven into our DNA, each and every one of us. We focus on the negative, and it's just what we do as human beings. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, we do that to keep ourselves safe. The majority of our thoughts every day are negative and repetitive. We know this through neuroscience. And an example is the caveman, right? The caveman that's scanning for a saber-toothed tiger. That is going to be the caveman that survived to pass down their genes. And we still have this scanning mentality every day. And but we're not scanning for a saber-toothed tiger, but we are scanning for negativity. And anywhere you look, there is plenty of fear being sold to us. And it's up to us to be aware of this propensity to look for the negative, to keep ourselves safe, and to literally choose love. We can't always choose what happens to us in the world. We know that, but we can always choose how we thoughtfully respond. That's how we take our personal power back. And as Bhavani said, we do that in the present moment. And there is always an opportunity for that. And also, as Bhavani said, the great mind shifter from this negative path, which we're kind of wired to go down, is gratitude. Gratitude, the great mind shifter. You can only think of one thought at a time. You can only focus on one thought. So that means that it's your choice. When you become present and you think about what you're thinking about and you feel yourself going down that negative path, think about something that you're grateful for, because as Bhavani said, there's always something to be grateful for. And that literally shifts the path of your thinking. Another thing that I do is the get to versus the have to. So if I start hearing myself saying, I have to do this, I have to do that, I just switch it up to I get to, because your have to is always somebody else's get to. And that puts a more positive spin on it. I think that a lot of anxiety that the world is feeling now is from thoughts of uncertainty. But if we just came to the realization that we thought we lived in a certain world, but we really don't. I learned that 8 years ago when I put my son on the school bus and he didn't come home. So I've been living in that world, but I think collectively we're realizing that. And if we can accept that and then ground ourselves, be present in the here and now where we are safe and we are well, and be grateful for what we have, then we're going to lead a better existence and one with fewer regrets.
Thank you, Scarlett. Thank you. Wow, great conversation so far. Amazing. Just wow. So we have another question. This is very pertinent to the moment. It's from Nathan from Texas. How do I even begin to sow seeds of love in the face of aggressive militants who are carrying semi-automatic weapons and screaming abuse? That's a very interesting question. There's so much pressure in the States right now with what's going on. Gilron, I'd love to hear from you, because you come from a country that's been in the face of that so much in your life. I mean, you literally probably grew up with that. Can you share some thoughts to Nathan from Texas?
Yeah. First of all, I want to say that I'm now around 50 years old, but I already passed something like 5 wars. And actually my first memories from age 4 from 1973 was that we ran to the shelters because there was a bombing from Egyptian airplanes in the region when I grew up. And I remember running, holding the hand to my grandfather and asking him, what is war? What is war? What is it? What is what mom said? There is a war. And that's actually and the sirens, and that's my first memories at age 4. And it turns out to be also my gift in life. I feel that those scars on my consciousness of growing up in a war zone, actually until today, only that today most of the world suffering from separation and violence. There is ways to see it as like the snake. The poison of the snake is also the source of the medicine. Growing up in a war zone like the Middle East made me understand very deep the human experience here on the planet, and the way to breathe deeply this experience of violent. And at age 17, almost 18, I joined the army. And I myself, I was a very innocent kid that had dreams and values, and I found myself holding a gun. So actually answering, talking to you guys and to our friend in Texas, I'm talking from the place that today I'm a man of peace. But in my past, I was a combat soldier, and I found myself in moments of a very deep, scary, violent, like moments of fire, of war. And from those moments, I want to share with you that also in the moments of a deep violence, I also found a very deep treasures of friendship and of seeing the deepness of the human experience inside my friends. And actually during the years also with meetings with people from the other side, I realized how deep is the experience of violence when you use a very, very simple tool, putting yourself in the place of the other, and imagining how the other side feel and what is the reasons that he is on the other side of the border or on the other side of the violent experience, what drives him. And sometimes when we have this compassion, when we are outside of the trauma or outside of the moment of violence, we can actually turn our enemy into our best friends. And I think that this is the situation now in the Middle East. And I think it's spreading all over the world that actually people are being able, with education and with the values that we share, to see the other side. And from the moment we can see the other side, sides are dissolving. And we're realizing that we are all sharing the life on this planet. We are all sharing the same human experience. And I think that I invite us to a space which is ex-politic and ex-size. The method of being choosing a side, left, right, all this technique of politicians to separate us, all these ancient cultural lies are, I think, in this time, in the days that the human race and the planet experience, we can really feel that it's not belong to us anymore. We give birth to a new way of thinking. And I think that here in the Middle East, it's very strong because since what we call the Arab Spring and all the riots, and this was the beginning, I think that we started to feel new times are coming. And all the tools that during my life, I adapted, like the consciousness to the birth, to the breath, to bring in the present moment a chance to get above the conflict. All those tools that every one of us learn how to use, the simple things like dancing, music, smiling, all those things that look very naive, they are the real tools to handle violence. And it's magic, it's working. And I can really share with you a moment that I remember that I was in Lebanon in a combat situation, and something drove me to hide beyond a big stone, a rock. And when I was holding my gun and hiding, suddenly a melody came to me. And in my mind, I said, what, go away. I don't want to, I want to be aware of what is happening. But when I surrendered to the melody and I just started to mumbling, suddenly I felt that I'm getting out of the zone of war. And what actually happened is that the fire went off. And actually my personal experience started to be the real reality around me. And that was a certain moment. But actually, if we all use positive thinking in front of the deep crack of violence, that's actually, as I see, one of the only tools that we have to think positively and to send positive thoughts all over the world. And that's what I want to do now, to send to all the people in the United States the vibration of faith in the human race, and that we can get over this crisis of seeing ourselves on this side or this side of the situation now. And I really believe that we will get over it. I really believe in us.
Thank you, Gilran. I really believe it too. Thank you for sharing. And I love that, what you said, just to allow yourself the permission, or try at least to put yourself in the other person's shoes, to actually cross the divide, that separation of space. Powerful. Bhavani, would you like to share some thoughts on this question?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Gil. That was so valuable to connect to you and have someone who's actually had an experience of being a soldier in a war. Yeah. Amazing. Well, it's my firm conviction that our basic nature is a call to love and be loved. That is the basic essence of our nature. And it seems to me that when the more chaos is happening outside and the more violence and danger, because it's dangerous to feel, it's scary and dangerous to feel people with guns and riots and everything. For me, it's a call to even express more love. It's in a way, it's almost the most natural response to that is to recognize how much you love and value everything is going on in your life, that you're going to, and you don't separate from them, because the tendency is to feel angry at those people or want to push them away or want them to go away. But there's a compassion for those people who are so upset themselves. They're just acting out their upset in a much greater way. We all are feeling feelings of being upset and afraid. So I just feel like it just ramps it up. For me, it ramps it up. It just brings the inherent truth of our need to love and be loved even more to the forefront. So I just find those situations to be actually the opposite of what they appear to be. I mean, because again, it's like, and Scarlett talks a lot about this in her work too, that we have really only two choices at any moment. They always fall into either we're choosing fear, and there's lots of ways that we do that, or we're choosing love, and there's lots of ways that we do that. You know, there's compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, there's kindness, patience, caring. There's so many ways that we choose love, and there's so many ways that we choose fear as well. But basically this is the dividing line. So it's almost like you can't really, you're either in one or the other. You can't really be, choosing love when you're in fear. You can think that, you are, but you really aren't. So, it's just like, okay, not choosing fear, choosing love, because we don't know anyway. Our lives aren't for granted. Our next breath isn't for granted. It's just to take in this moment. Well, this is a possibility that violence and death is around the corner. Well, I've actually sat with a number of people as they've died, and it's always about love. It's always what's on their heart and their mind when they're dying is about love. And this is the default for us. The longing to love and be loved. And I just feel the more that we can be present in that, this is itself sowing the biggest seed of love that we can sow, is to be present with that within ourselves and recognize our own need to love and be loved in each moment.
Thank you, Bhavani. That's such a potent quote. The longing to be loved and be loved. Longing to love and be loved. That's, yeah.
Can I add to that?
Yes, please, Scarlett.
So I just wanted to add on to what Bhavani said, because I agree 100%. Every choice that we make at the very foundation is either based in love or fear, as Bhavani said, and the outcomes of those choices look so different. And we have to remember that. I think that in our society, and I don't know if it's just America or if it's other places too, but love is seen as weak, because fear is what sells. And you see violence and you think, well, how can you respond to violence with love and keep yourself safe? And there is a lot of examples of people that have done that, Gandhi being one, but there are lots of other examples of people that have done that, as Gilron said, through empathy, through connecting with the other side, because as Bhavani said, we're all the same as human beings in the want and need to love and be loved. That's what we all ultimately want. And even war is a lack of connection and love. And we can be the ones that put that back in there. Love is actually the strongest response that you can have. You have to be very courageous, but you can thoughtfully respond with love. And it is the strongest way to respond. Anger, hatred, violence begets more of the same. And there is never a positive outcome. Love begets love. And that is always the positive outcome. There is never a regret. As Bhavani said, at the end of someone's life, the way to live your life with the fewest regrets is to really be present with the ones that you love. You never regret that. And I think that empathy can help us get to an understanding. I mean, right now, it is a little crazy because there is, it's one side or the other in America. And I think that obviously that's done from a point of fear. And one side, when you have a common enemy, then you belong and you feel a sense of connection, because I, along with everyone in my camp, hates you. And but in reality, that is a false sense of connection when it's done through hatred. It has to be done from love. And I have this this philosophy that there are really only two kinds of people in the world. There are good people and there are good people in pain. And I have said that even about my young son's killer. He was a good person, but he was a good person that had suffered a lifetime of pain. And in that, I felt compassion for him. So if we have, as Gilran said, understanding and empathy for one another, we won't have war. If we can see each other with love, then we can transcend the need to react in fear, which is really, when you take sides, what you're doing.
Thank you, Scarlett.
You know, actually, Scarlett, people that go to war, they many times they think they go to war from love. We love our country, we love our, so actually there is a big difference between saying love than feeling and being a tool for love, because there is discussion about love in the world, but loving is completely different thing. Love in action is different thing than talking about love. And actually, I want to dare and to invite us in this moment, and all the people that is with us now, just to feel love, to be in this gentle field of energy, stepping out from conversation of love into feeling this tiny bird here, even if it's just imagination that it's here, because it's everywhere. But we have our human experience, we have our heart here in the chest, and let's grow like a small baby this feeling of love, and let's share it, and let's be courageous to feel it. This love is actually the only thing we have. This is the source of our life. This is the only reason we came here. And it's the only reason we go out of here into the next room beyond this life. And I want to remind us, when we start to feel it, that love have no borders, no language, no culture. Love is connect us all, is our glue that make us one. And it's so easy to forget, to stop thinking and talking and all the rush of being in this world, the experience of human being with money, with friends, with lovers, with all those words, and just to feel this love. And this is the real work of the garden, to go back into this human basic feeling, because we can ask, what is love? But if we just be for a moment quiet and feel it again, then all the will to share it comes up. And when we are willing to share it, the real work starts, because then we find ways with our talents and with our habits to share the love. We don't need a common language even to share love. We can share love simply with the basic thing of smiling. You know, let's stretch our face now, even if it's for one moment, it feels, oh, you know, fake, but this is the first act of love, smiling, you know, and releasing this heaviness of being human being with the body, feeling the love and smiling. Sometimes you walk in the street and you decide to smile to a stranger. That's the thing I'm talking about. That's the only thing exist. Seeing someone as stranger, smiling to him, it's like a seed in the garden, because that's the whole garden. All the rest is echoes. And if we can do it now, if we can win the shell of we are in a pulse and we are in a net and we are doing something important, and we remember that under all what we do, the simple smile and love that we share, that's the reason we do it. That's why we do it. That's why I stayed awake at 3 o'clock in the night to be with you, is to find myself again sharing love. I don't know the way, I don't have a map. I have all kind of ideas, and they always take me to the same experience. When I remember my true nature is to love.
Thank you, Gilron.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You've definitely brought a huge smile to my face. Such a simple thing, just to allow yourself to be in that feeling the love. Wow, I'm loving this session today. We're going to move on. We have Carol Van Zuren to join us live now. Hi, Carol.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, and where are you from? Nice, thank you so much for joining today.
I'm in Wilmington, Delaware.
Delaware, nice.
About 4 miles from Joe Biden's house.
Great. What's the weather like? Pretty cold?
It's a little chilly, you know, not too bad, not too bad.
Great. And what's your question for today?
Well, I asked this question probably half an hour ago, and the last answer kind of addressed a lot of it. So let me kind of tweak it a little bit.
Sure.
Particularly where we are now in the United States, I am hoping that we will get to reconciliation. But it is difficult to conceive of reconciliation without repentance. And I'm wondering if it's possible to achieve reconciliation with somebody who has wronged me if they are not repentant. And how can I at least make peace with that, if not truly reconcile? And I think, you know, certainly the compassion and empathy is a prerequisite to reconciliation, but what if that doesn't work?
Thank you. Interesting question. Repentance. Scarlett, would you like to start with this one? And thank you for your question.
Yeah, thank you, Carol. I think that's a great question. I know exactly where it's coming from. I mean, I can talk about my own experience of forgiveness. There doesn't have to be an apology, and there may never be. And you may have people that don't think they did anything wrong, and they don't care how you feel or that you've been hurt by it. But you can forgive anyway. I mean, I forgave the man who murdered my son, and that gave me my personal power back. He wasn't sorry, he was dead. And I love how Dr. Edie Iger talks about forgiveness. She wrote The Choice. She's a Holocaust survivor. She says that without forgiveness, we are prisoners in our own mind. And what we don't realize is that we're also the jailer, and the key is in our pocket. You know, when you're talking about family members and maybe political alliances, I think that, you know, you know, we're talking about sowing the seeds of love, and I see, I think that it was you, Chris, that talked about love as a bridge, and that's where I see love. It's where, despite what we believe, despite the disagreements, I believe that we can reach an understanding, that we can meet in the middle of the bridge at love. Because in essence, we're human beings, and the connection is not political. The connection between one another is love. And so you can reduce animosity and anger with forgiveness. I think that expecting a retraction or an apology might not be possible. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's you know, I mean, it's, for me, it's not a personal thing. It's really, you know, thinking about the wounds of my country. But yeah, you know, it's going to be hard to bind those wounds up without some recognition of what caused those wounds.
You know, Carol, in the late 90s, I was chosen as a musician to be part of the reconciliation in Yugoslavia after the war. Just to remind us, Yugoslavia suffered in the 90s from one of the most terrible wars between Protestants, Catholics, and Muslims. And they chose, I was part of a project that the society in a certain city called Mostar that suffered from massacres and very terrible violence. They chose Jews to come and reconcile between them because they didn't believe Christian people or Muslim people to do it. And I realized something very deep. I was presenting a program that calls the healing of the myth and returning to the prayer. The healing of the myth, because people had all kind of very deep-rooted lies, historical lies about each other. What is a Muslim? What is a Christian? And it was needed, it demanded a work of healing the myth itself, the story that we tell ourselves. It was full of lies. And second thing, because of the communism, they had a very deep fear from spiritual tools. They were afraid from the connection with God, because the totalitarianistic regime teach them that prayer is something bad. And we did a long way. But why I'm telling you this? Because actually the human experience, the divine experience, have all the time wrestling inside of it. You know that actually the name, I'm coming from Hebrew tradition, and our name, the way we call ourselves, is Israel. You know that the meaning of the word Israel is the one who wrestled with God. You remember Jacob, that's Israel, that's his name. He was wrestling with the angel. Now, let's go to this myth, and together we dare to heal it. You remember in boxing, I know it's not not everyone like to watch boxing, but sometime inside boxing, there is this moment, suddenly they hug. You remember this?
Yeah.
That's life. Actually, we don't need to do a lot, just to be patient. And the one who fight suddenly find himself hugging each other. If we have a patient to leave all the mind tools and techniques of analyzing the situation, the hug will come naturally, because we are natural born lovers, and killing and violent is part of love. It can sound crazy, but you know, Khalil Gibran, the poet, he wrote, love comes with wings, and the wings hiding a sword. And everyone that loves know that one of the biggest thing love brought him is big pain. War is pain. War is wrestling. War is a melting point of egos. My country, my religion, my body. And suddenly in this holy process of war, come the hug. If we're gentle enough just to let it happen. And us as people, if we are here in this moment, probably part of us is having the duty or hear the call of being those people that help in a situation just to observe and to maintain the time together to have this hug. And this hug can come in the beginning with, oh no, I'm hugging but slowly it becomes the main thing. And I want to tell you that when I met those young Yugoslavians in the program, there were 100 people that wanted to have a stamp of the European Union to work. They came because of money, okay? They didn't come because they want peace.
Always money.
They came because they wanted to work in Europe. But what happened inside? They fall into what the Sufis call the trap of love. Everything we do because of love. Actually, also wars. I went to the army because, you know, I thought I'm doing it from love. And you know what I found? I did it from love. Love is the reason for all, and also for violent. Actually, it's hard to understand it, but people, especially in the West, we don't touch each other a lot. And it brings the need. In Hebrew, it's so clear, you know, krav, it means a battle. And karov means close, physically close. When I'm karov, I'm close to you. And krav is a battle. There is a mysticism inside our need to love. Sometimes we cannot contain it because of culture, and we create violence.
Mm-hmm.
May we dare just to ask, please, I want to hug you. Please, I want to eat your food. You know, Israelis, they love Arab food, but they go to war and they vote to people that hate Arabs. But actually, in the daily life, they love Arab music. They love Arab food. We love each other, but we don't have the tools to get close.
Well, and I think just to comment, I mean, your image of the boxing ring actually it resonates with me. I mean, certainly you're talking about a much closer hug, you know, a more meeting of the minds. But I'm thinking in the boxing ring, when the fighters hug, it's because they both decided that they want to say, please stop hurting me. You know,
Yeah,
please
they are tired.
hitting me. You
Yeah,
know?
we are tired of this, you know?
Yeah.
We fight. And when we are tired from ambitions of the I'm gonna win, they just suddenly become two babies, and this is also a natural state.
It's like the first little baby step. It's the first little baby step, but it's an opening.
Yeah, from there it can grow. It's growing. I believe in it.
There's your seed. There's your sown seed.
Yeah.
Sowing the seeds.
I'm going to drop off video. Thank you so much, everyone. You really are very insightful and very helpful. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Carol. Thanks for joining us today. Now, it brings up a good question of, you know, are we loving and forgiving because we want something in return, or are we doing it unconditionally? And I love what you shared, Scarlett. Bhavani, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that question, just to take it a little deeper.
On Carol's question?
Yes. Yeah, so Carol was saying, like, she wanted that this whole concept of repentance, like needing to have someone actually get it and repent as you're forgiving them. Is that what's your thoughts on that?
I think that that in order to actually manifest a world full of abundance and love, we need to focus on love and abundance for all. And you know, we attribute other people with whatever it is that we attribute. We don't like what they did, basically, or we don't like what they said. We think it should be different. Why else do we think it? Repentance is if someone has to, you know, pay for their wrongdoing, which is what we decided. I think that's all, to me, like it's just a waste of time. Let's move forward. Let's forgive ourselves. Let's forgive ourselves, then we automatically forgive others. Let's forgive ourselves for wanting it to be different, for all the lack of love we were not able to bring into the world. Let us focus more on the love and compassion and forgiveness and gratitude that we can bring into the world through courage, and let them deal with their own journey. They have to face themselves and God and whatever happens or they believe in. They will. That's their journey. It's like if we're in their business and we're thinking what they need to do, we are the ones that suffer. So let us bring this love into the world. Let us be co-creators of a world we want without conditions. It has to be this way. We have to stop that. We can't. I'm not going to love until, isn't that what we're really saying? I'm not going to really love until you agree that you were wrong and you punish yourself or something. Like we have to move out of that way of thinking, that way of behaving, that way of believing that has anything of value in it. That we can bring this love and beauty. We can live in a state of love and beauty in each other and see the beauty and love in each other. This is what's upon us now. I love the boxing ring thing too. I love that. Let us all fall into each other's arms. Enough already of all that. Let's just give each other a smile and a hug. And if they're not up for that, fine. Let them be on their own journey. Also, that's fine. Everyone has, their own journey to live. Let us be the best that we can be. Let us be our best self. That's all that we can be. Then we inspire others, those who are interested.
Yeah, I totally couldn't agree more. And to love conditionally and expect to have something in return is the old paradigm, I think. And that's what's kept this whole cycle going for eons. To actually love freely and to just not expect anything, you're already broken and healed. Even if it's just a healing for yourself and not the other person. So I couldn't agree more. And thanks for sharing. That was a great question. That was definitely a great question. Because some people are expecting something in return when they're loving. And that just creates the loop. And you never know when someone's going to change. It might take them a decade, but that's great. Just keep loving them. Keep loving. Fantastic. This is such a great dynamic discussion today. We have another question. We'll keep moving on. We're getting quite a few questions coming in tonight. Sophie Levu, who's actually in our Zoom conference. Hi, Sophie. Welcome back. Sophie's one of our regulars, actually, from Mauritius. Sophie asks this question today. We have been living so much in our brain and the stories of the brain. Why is it so difficult for humans to move into the heart? Scarlett, would you like to start?
Well, I would say because of what I was saying before, and I would love to hear what Gil Ron has to say about this. Because for me, I know that it is fear. Fear keeps me from being completely in my heart, from responding from my heart, from being authentic to myself, from being courageous and moving on my own path. This negative bias that we have, this fear, when I find myself buying the fear that's out there that people are selling, I feel like that keeps me from authentically going down my path. But I wonder what Gil Ron would say about that, because you're more saying that everything comes from love, even the negative stuff. So how would you respond to that?
Look, you know what comes in my mind? You know the moment, for example, that you see a dog that you don't know is entering the yard. When you see the dog, he's walking into the yard. It can be a big dog, and you kind. It's different than the moment you know already the dog and you petting him, and he's like, we have our pride, we have our ego. It's part of our animal. It's part of our natural being. The senses, they are trapped. When we see things, we judge things. It's a trap that we can fall into. And there is a tiny moment that things change and they turn. From the moment we see a dog and it's a stranger dog and it's frighten us, then the moment we are petting him and he's like, and the human experience is the same. Someone is entering a coffee shop. We look at him and we say, oh, he's like this, he's wearing this, he have this symbol, this, and then he sit with us and suddenly, wow, he's a really funny guy. What is the program that lead us to think about things, to see things with our eyes? And in the moment, the holy moment is when we let go. We let go this important tool of thinking of the things, seeing the things, judging the things. Yeah, I also agree with you. Only exists fear and love. I do not agree that it's have to be or that, because inside the heart, the organ that feels in our mental system, it's not like the mind. The mind can contain only one thought, and when it's moving, a new one comes. But feelings, they are like rainbow. They can learn to live together. And actually, if I'm focusing on my heart and I look truly on myself as a lover, living with my wife, for example, with a D, sometimes I love her and I'm afraid in the same time. And you know what? It's okay. People can be afraid. We should let space for these dark feelings to be there, and only by accepting the fact that we are afraid of death, afraid of what we don't know, the unknown, love can become stronger. When we let the fear, we can also let go of it. And actually, the main tool to let go of fear is deep breath. And I think maybe Chris, Bhavani, and Scarlett, and everyone that watch us, maybe we can do it for one moment. Maybe we can remember the main tool for human experience to win fear. And it's not some, not some hidden treasures of mysticism. It's just to be able to stop what we're doing, even if it's very important, to stop our drive and to take care that we are in a deep condition of breath. So let us dare to put aside what we're doing now and just close our eyes and take a deep breath from the nose, a simple one. Don't do it strong. Let's start softly. Just feel choosing the nose over your mouth. Slowly breathe in and breathe out. And again, let's do it again. And one more time. Now we open the eyes and we send to our future and to our past a message. The only real thing that we can do inside the human experience to take over the fears and to grow the love is to breathe. It's so simple that it's so hard. We are so ambitious. We have so many ideas about ourselves. It's so hard to let go of the mind and to give this nourishment in the garden to love with breath. And sometimes with two kids fighting, now when I have children, sometimes they fight and I just help them to stop and tell them, breathe for a moment. And when we breathe with the child that is in anger, he took my thing, and simply the reason for the fight is gone. The tool of forgetting is not less holy than the tool of remembrance. It's so important to forget so we can remember. To forget why I'm in pain, to forget what brought me here, to forget what I'm angry at, what was my reasons that I brought myself into these violent situations. Just, people, please, let's forget a little bit so we can remember our true self, which is sharing love. I would give everything for that. All my memories, all what I collect, and wow, this is just one corner of my house. I collect so many things, but I will to give everything, give up, just to remember how to love. But breath brings us the key to love. It doesn't mean that if you breathe, you love. You just entering a zone that you're able to forgive and to feel and love comes. We need to trust.
Thank you, Gil. Thank you. It's nice to have that moment to drop in with the breath. So we have quite a few questions coming in. I want to take a moment to thank the global audience who are joining us today, and the chat room's going crazy. People are really engaging today with this very, very deep discussion on sowing the seeds of love. So we have another question from Cara from Ireland. I have been trying hard to hold a space of love and compassion with members of my family, particularly my father, who constantly wants to challenge my values and tear me down. It's exhausting. At what point do I give up and stop sowing the seeds? Bhavani, would you like to start on that one?
Wow. Wow. Well, first of all, I think that Gil's suggestion to breathe deeply on a regular basis will be really helpful to you, Cara. I would never suggest that you stop sowing the seeds of love. I feel that in order to have as much self-respect as you can have and have your own boundaries, be able to say to your father, I'd appreciate it if you don't speak to me that way. Find ways that you can protect yourself and your own dignity, taking breaths, but don't give up on love. Stopping sowing the seeds of love is not the answer. But standing up for yourself, taking a stand, and that takes courage. I think if you see the board behind Scarlett, she talks about courage, gratitude. I can't see the other two. I should know them by now by heart, but these are your tools. These are your tools that you can build a fortress around you that still allows you to be a full, loving, caring, compassionate, light-filled human being, because that's what we all want to be, the best of ourselves. But we do have to make a decision around what we're going to allow. If we're going to allow people to be abusive to us or not, we do have that choice as much as we can. I mean, in war situations, we have less choice. But to the extent that we do, we have choice. And part of the thing that maybe people get confused with is that when you open your heart and you live in love, I think Gil was saying, it's full of pain. There's pain there. To be willing to feel the pain of your relationship with your father, the pain of all the trauma, all the disappointments, all the wanting his love and attention and that you didn't get. I mean, I'm projecting a bit from my own experience and from all the people I've worked with and talked to, and it's pretty similar for all of us, that we didn't get the love, encouragement, respect, and honor that what we longed for and we needed. And we also ended up trying to maybe diminish ourselves in certain ways so that we could try to show up as that person that we thought they wanted us to be, like our parents, so that they'd love us. The things we've done seeking love, the things we have done to ourselves seeking love, are the things we can forgive ourselves for, and then love ourselves with compassion and allow ourselves to feel all those feelings, all that pain and hurt, the sorrow, the grief, the loss. Allow us to feel it fully without resistance, and it will take us, as we just stay open, it will take us to deeper love and deeper beauty. And to keep our 70% of our attention on our own physical, personal, and emotional experience. And just, that the peripheral, the 30% connecting to the world, but staying with the main grounding, like in our own personal experience, and filling ourselves up with our own awareness. That's our gift. And using the breath helps us bring us into a greater sense of self-awareness in this present moment.
Thank you. Scarlett, would you like to share some thoughts on that question?
Well, I empathize because I have a similar relationship with my father, and I struggle with it too, to this day. So speaking from personal experience, you cannot control the other person. And what you can control is your thoughtful response. And you always want to be coming from a place of love. always keeping the door open, but being true to yourself is so important. When you thoughtfully respond in any situation with love, you are taking your personal power back. And I think forgiveness is, this is a formula behind me for thoughtfully responding with love. And that takes a lot of courage. And I love what Gilron said about the breath, because I think we come to the present moment and we strengthen our courage through our breath to be able to be grateful for aspects of that relationship. Maybe when you were younger, there has to be something about it that you're grateful for. That strengthens you to consider at least forgiveness through compassion, understanding that however he is responding to you is most likely coming from a point of pain for him. And so that leads you to the last character value, which is compassion in action, which is understanding another person's pain. And that helps you to be able to always come to that situation from a point of love. And that's the high road. That's some place that you will never regret. And that always keeps the door open. So you can't choose for, unfortunately, your father to respond in kind, but you have modeled that for him. He simply may not know how to give you what you need because he's never had it, most likely. And the only way at this point for him to learn is to have it modeled for him. And when you have that awareness that you are modeling the love that you want, then it helps you rise to the occasion and be the best version of yourself.
Thank you, Scarlett. Gil, would you like to share some quick words on that question from Cara?
I suggest, something like a surgery. We all have drama if we want with our father and mother. Okay, it's universal thing. We all have it. Some people, or part of our life, all of us, we spend a lot of time and energy. But it's so important to now, as I'm becoming a father, I'm in the beginning, my children are small. I see the trap of drama inside of it, all the thoughts about my father and me being a father, all the mistakes, oh my God, all the mistakes I make every day. Listen, there is a say in the Bible, ואהבת לרעך כמוך. Love your friend as you love yourself. Love your father as you love yourself. Love your mother. We need to wake up and to not to judge each other, and just to make our life better by using more and more love as a practical way to give up our ideas, our thoughts about our father, and just practice, the basic respect will bring us respect. And I wish all of us to heal the relationship inside the family. It's a big source of disease and problems. May we all have peace with our father and mothers. May we all learn to listen and to respect and to let go, just to put ourselves in their place and just to forgive and to hope for a better tomorrow, not to argue, simple things. help it.
Thank you, Gilron. Wow. Well, we've come to the end of this month's session, and thank you again to the wonderful global audience who sent in so many questions. And of course, we can't answer everyone's questions, but we really appreciate you all, showing up here and sowing the seeds of love. And we're going to end this session with a beautiful dropping in. And we're going to start with this dropping in with, I'd like to invite Bhavani to please just take us through a meditation and drop us in spirit and in heart. And then Gilron will then take us into a musical piece. He'll share a song with us. So thank you all. Bhavani.
Thank you, Chris, and everyone here. Let us go back to the breath. Let us take a few breaths together, closing our eyes. And as we do, let us just feel into our bodies. Let us feel the field around us. And as we breathe in the field of love, of intelligence, of light. Breathing in the field of peace, of presence. Breathing it in, filling and feeling your whole body. And slowly exhaling, allowing the body to fully relax. Taking in another deep breath and drawing the light-filled atmosphere, the starry sky, the light-filled sunlit sky, wherever you are, whatever you visualize, and draw all that sparkling light of love and peace right into your own energy field and into every cell of your body, breathing it in. And as you exhale, feel every cell light up with the force of life itself, the force of prana, of chi, of the essential life force energy that we breathe in. And just again, breathing in more light and love into your head, into your neck, into your chest and heart and arms and hips and legs and feet and hands, your whole body filling and flowing with light and love. And just think of one thing that you're grateful for right now, one thing you're genuinely grateful for. And feel that feeling of gratitude. And think of another thing, something simple, just something simple, but that's meaningful to you. And breathe in another gratitude thought, the blessings, counting our blessings, the blessings of this moment. And see how many things you are right now feeling grateful for, and how beautiful the love you feel in your heart. Gratitude is love. It's a form of love. And here we are filling ourselves with love and gratitude. And this spills out of us as we feel love and gratitude for all those in our life that we meet. Everyone has given us a gift. And usually the most difficult relationships have given us the greatest gifts. Let us take a moment to reflect on that. And let us now feel those love-filled relationships, the ones we love with just absolute freedom of will and compelling love-filled energy flowing from our hearts to the earth, to animals, to pets, to loved ones, to the earth, to the sky. Just feel that love flow. Cherish that love. This is our gift, to love. This is such a gift we have, to love and be loved. And let us just sit in this flow of love, breathing it in and breathing it through. And then in a few minutes, Gil can start his beautiful music chanting with us.
Om Shanti Om. 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 Ashalom Aleichem. Malachei Hashalom. Ashalom Aleichem. Malachei Hashalom. Ashalom Aleichem. Malachei Hashalom. Ashalom Aleichem. Malachei Elyon. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. Salam, salam, salam alaikum. Salam, salam, salamu alaikum. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om.
Thank you, Bhavani, and thank you, Gilron. Thank you, Scarlett. Such an amazing session. Sowing the seeds of love. May we never, ever underestimate the power and potency of love. And when we come together as a community and share it together, it is so powerful. It sends major ripples across the world. And Yeah, I could really feel that today. It's so easy to, as Scarlett said earlier, you know, love, this concept of love has been made to feel weak for so long, but it is really the most potent of energy that we have, and we all have as humanity. It's who we are. It's our true nature to be love and to share love. So thank you all. May we take this energy of love into this new decade. This new decade, 2021, here we go, this new year. You know, this past year has been so filled with separation and, you know, this people on either side, and it's still showing up. But, you know, may it burst like a boil, and may it cleanse itself finally. And may we take this energy, this truth of love with all of us. Never let that go. It's not a dream, actually, it's a reality. And we're living it. So thank you all. Thank you all, global community, for joining us for the first Pulse session of the year, Sowing the Seeds of Love. And if you want to share this session with your friends and family, it will be archived on the Global Days of Unity this coming week. So please feel free to go back to the website and share it widely. Thank you so much.
I love you.
Yes.
Chris, Bhavani, Scarlett, I really feel the love now. I love you so much.
Thank you, Gilran.
Love you all. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Scarlett. Thank you, Gil, and all you beautiful beings.
Blessings.
Blessings.
See you
Blessings.
next month. Please join us again.